This conference will now be recorded.
Open automatically naki open e ki click korbo acha double tick jeta okay এই তো না কন্টিনিউ করবো আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে 12টা পর্যন্ত না তো কেটে দিলাম নাকি okay thank you so welcome all to this session of histology practical card 1 class. Today my topic about the epithelial, right? So in this session what we able to know, first of all we can define epithelial tissue, state its function, mention the characteristics of this tissue, and able to classify epithelial tissues with example. So from epithelial tissue, so it's a basic tissue. Already you know the definition of tissue is here cells are united together by intracellular substances and having similar functions, and this is called tissue. And tissues are 4 basic tissues are there. First epithelial tissue, then connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissues. And each individual tissues have their individual functions and characteristics. So today I will say about the epithelial tissue. Here the as a whole 4 basic tissues, main, extracellular, matrix, cell, and the main functions are shown in my slide, and all are taken from the textbook. And the epithelial tissue here, cells are polyhedral and they are connected with each other, and this connection done by cellular substance, and this is very small amount. Here the amount of the cell is more, and the main function is the lining surface of the body cavities and the glandular secretions. So the in our body gland and lining of the body surface and also cavities are lined by epithelial tissue. So these epithelial tissue is very important for us. So my first objective is the definition of epithelial tissue. So here it's a tissue here, closely aggregated polyhedral cells are there with a very little extracellular substance and form a cellular sheet that cover the surface of our body and line body cavities. Suppose our oral cavity, nasal cavity, and our interior of the heart, as well as pleural cavity, with peritoneal cavity, all are lined by epithelial tissues. Our skin that our cover our body surface, so it's have epithelial tissue. So this is called epidermis. So this is epithelial tissue. So the definition you have to know like that in that oil. Now if we see the epithelial tissue here in this figure I shown here, cells, and here this cell is cuboidal in shape, tissue, and just below that here it is rest on a connective tissue, and these cells here, this is gland, and this gland containing pyramidal cell shape, and this cell also containing a oval shaped nucleus, and this also rests on a red color outline that is called basement membrane, and the just below the cell there is a capillaries. This is called uh, capillary, and actually this capillary is also lined by a epithelial cell, and this epithelial cell is here very flattened, and cytoplasm is very less amount, but the rest of these cells cytoplasm containing significant amount you are seeing in here. So this is the epithelial tissue, and this epithelial tissue and just below that connective tissue is separated from each other by a red color portion that is called basement membrane. Actually, this basement membrane, it is a light microscopic line structure. We can see it lying in that way here. So the characteristic feature of epithelial cell, individual cell, so cell range from high columnar to cuboidal and low squamous cell. So already I shown here the cuboidal cells and squamous cell that lies in this in the capillaries, and cuboidal cell and columnar cell. The nucleus of the columnar cell is elongated and height of the cell is more than the width. And in case of cuboidal cell, all are same, but in case of squamous cell, the cell is more flat than the width. So each cell united together, and the cell nucleus also varying from spherical to elongated or elliptical. Most epithelial cell already I shown that rest on the epithelial in the connective tissue, and they receive nutrition and oxygen from connective tissue capillaries. So epithelial tissue is avascular structure. They have no direct connection. They have no own capillaries. So it taking nutrition from the connective tissue capillaries. So receive nutrition and oxygen from that source. And just below the epithelial tissue is a loose connective tissue that is called lamina propria. That epithelial cell all are lying in here. In case of gastrointestinal tract, respiratory tract, we see this lamina propria. And in case of skin, just below the epidermis, that is dermis. Dermis is a dense connective tissue, shows some irregularities elongatedly. This is called papilla. So in connective tissue, there are some modifications in the form of lamina propria and papilla, and they help to rest the epithelial cells individually, and shows polarity and organelles and membrane proteins within the epithelial cells, and the organelles is varying in amount. Already you know able to know organelles and membranous and non-membranous organelles that already you know in cell biology. The next, so this is characteristics of the epithelial cell, and by this you can say the uh, characteristics of epithelial tissue. It's a very important for your written and oral practical examinations. And already I say the definition of epithelial tissue here: closely aggregated polyhedral cells with very little intercellular substances. This is a very important characteristics. And the next I say the most epithelial cell rests on the connective tissue and receives nutrition and oxygen from capillaries. It is a avascular structure, so need to support from the connective tissue, and the surface cell are destroyed by wear and tear, and new cell coming from the epithelial cyclic changes. So it is called turnover. So it's at the characteristics of epithelial tissue. So in practical khata, you have to write this in that way. So this is characteristics feature of epithelial tissue, and what already I say in my epithelial cells So these all are also the characteristics of epithelial tissues individually. So from that I go characteristics of epithelial tissues. So definition of characteristics feature of epithelial tissue is very important for you individually. And now the developmental source of epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue actually developed from three germ layers from ectodermal origin, skin and some glands, mesodermal origins, lining of blood vessels, and also interior of the heart, endocardium, and endodermal origin, lining epithelium of our gastrointestinal tract, respiratory systems. So up to that, you can at that time you have to know. So epithelial tissue developmental source. Now the principal function of epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue principal function is that cover our body surface as well as interior of our hollow organs that lines and protect our surface from external environment and what we are taking in the form of solid and liquid foods. So it protect our hollow organ surfaces. So in that way, they maintain and protect our surface and interior of hollow organs. Next, absorption. It helps in proper absorptions in the intestine. You know, a small intestine is the principal site of absorption. So this intestine is lined by epithelial cells. So this columnar epithelium helps to absorptions and secretions. Glandular cell is one type of epithelial cells. So epithelial cells of the gland have capability to secretion. It's a special characteristics of the gland. So very important. And spatial cell that join epithelial cell to see some surrounding glands and capillaries. This cell have ability to contractions, and this contractility is help for secretions and for sensory cell such as those for the taste and these taste buds present on our dorsal surface of the tongue that lies in our oral cavity and helps to receive taste from our tongue surface in the form of sour, bitter, and sweet. And olfactory epithelium, it lies in our nasal cavity, just at the level of the mouth. And this olfactory epithelium helps to receive information in the form of gaseous and volatile form and goes and giving signals to the brain so that we can able to know about that. So a specific cell of certain epithelial cells are also very highly specialized sensory cell in the form of neuroepithelium. So this is the principal function of epithelial tissue. Next, my topic that how cells are united together. So cells are united together by some intercellular junctions. They are tight junction or occluding junctions and adhesive of anchoring junctions and gap junctions. So three junctions present on the basolateral surface of each individual cell. Already I shown each cells. So seal to prevent the flow of materials between two cells, that is cell membrane are joined, cell membrane are fused with each other, that is seal off, that is called tight junction or occluding junctions. and sometimes cells are united just below the, and this tight junction actually lie in the apical surface, near the apical surface of the cell, and just below that there is another junction that is called sites of adhesion, that is very tightly adhere with each other, that is called adhesive or anchoring junctions, and sometimes channel or communication between adjacent cell, that is called gap junction. Here one cell cytoplasm to another cell cytoplasm communicate with each other. Actually these all cellular junctions are formed by the transmembrane proteins. So this is intercellular adhesion or junctions. So this is very important for written and practical also. So in that cell forming the tissue by joining that, and in that figure I'm seeing a electron microscopic figure. Here the cell surface, one cell here and another cell is on the right and left side, on the right side and left side. So this cell which is united in the vertical section, that is Jonula occludens, is called tight adhering junction jonula adhere, and that desmosals present here. So each individual cell is actually joined by membrane proteins by fusion of membrane proteins, and adhering junction here microfilaments, these transparent they adhere with each other. So in that way, in that desmosons, protein filaments are connected with each other, and here intermediate filaments and plasma membrane are used with each other. And in case of gap junctions, there is a direct port that communicate with each other, and here some proteins are there that is called connexin proteins that guarded these gap junctions. So in that way, cell gap takes place. In cardiac muscle, where there is intercalated disc is there in cardiac muscle, here it actually is a junctional complex. You can see all that, and these all individual cells have individual functions. So this function is very important to maintain the uh, cellular functions and cellular stability. Next, specialization of the cell apical surface. So here I am showing a columnar cell because nucleus is uh, elongated, and this cell is surrounded by cell, and this cell apical surface shows some hair-like projection that is called microvilli. So this projection, finger-like projection, actually it's a cytoplasmic projections, and it's covered by a glycocalyx coat, and its core containing actin. Here this core protein actin filaments lies vertically and transversely, and this actin filament ultimately helps to move the microvilli and increase the surface area so that absorption increases more, that is 20 to 30 fold. So helps in absorption. You will see it in intestine. So this microvilli, stereocilia and cilia are the surface projections. So now I am seeing the stereocilia. Stereocilia is a long microvilli. Long microvilli, its lack of core actin filament. We are seeing that in villi, core is formed by actin filament that lies vertically, but here actin filament is absent, and it is so non-motile, and but it enhances the absorptions, so that helps in absorptions. So it function is sensory transducer in cochlear and vestibular receptors that is present in our internal ear. And this figure shows here on the right side, that is actually lining of the epididymis and wall of the epididymis. So in epididymis you will get this stereocilia. Now cilia. Cilia is another apical surface projections that is very important. So elongated, highly motile filamentous cytoplasmic projection on the surface of some epithelial cells. These cilia are 5 to 10 micrometer long and 0.2 micrometer in diameter, which is much longer and 2 times wider than a typical microvillus. And this cilium contains a core of microtubule that is called alpha and beta tubulin. And as a whole, these cilium core microtubules are called exonym. So this is very important, and cilia, which we know, and so that it help to clear our respiratory tract, and also it lie in the fallopian tube, so that when ovum discharge, then it goes to the uterine cavity by these ciliary beads. So this cilium is very important. So it's a elongated structure, highly motile filamental cytoplasmic projection on the surface of epithelial cells that is 5 to 10 meter long and 0.2 in diameter. So which is much longer and 2 times wider than typical microvillus. So actually it's a micrometer, 5 to 10 micrometer long, and cilium contain a core of microtubule. And how these microtubules are arranged in the cilium. So cilium, in case of cilia, microtubules arranged in 9 plus 2 patterns. Centrally 2 tubules are there, and peripherally paired tubules in a 9 pair lies. So in that way cilia is arranged. So each cilium is bounded by cell membrane and contains an exonym, that is alpha and beta tubule, with a central pair of microtubules, that is 2, and surrounded by 9 peripheral microtubular pair. So this term is very important, that is 9 plus 2 pattern. Microtubules are located in here, and cilia are inserted into the basal bodies that help to maintain its stability. And this basal body actually consists of 9 triplets of microtubules with no central microtubules. So this is the difference between the central pair of microtubules, that is exonym, and basal bodies. So this is individually very important, and for surface anatomy and surface projection of the cell. So 3 are there: microvilli, stereocilia, and cilium. So individually they are different from each other. So this difference you have to know individually. So this is cilia, and here I am showing a electron microscopic figure. Here the arrow and mark elongated process. This is cilia, and on side of the cilia there is a very small projections are there, that is called microvilli. In the here is written MB, and on the side, on the left side here, the cross sections are shown, and this cross section shown showing the 2 plus 9 pattern of each individual cilium. Okay, so this structure is important here. Now the type of epithelial cell, 2 main groups according to their structure and function, that is covering or lining epithelium and glandular epithelium. Today I will say about the covering epithelium, but in my next class I will say glandular epithelium. I will try my next class in next Sunday, same time. So gross classification of epithelial tissue, covering epithelium. So covering or lining epithelium, classified according to number of cell layer. As a cell layer, if it is a one cell layer, that is called simple epithelium. It is more than one layer, then this is called stratified or stratum layer, that is layered. So number of cell layer, and the morphological feature of cell in this surface shows the name of the cell. So simple epithelium contain only one layer of cell, and stratified epithelium contain more than one layer. So this is cross heading of covering or lining epithelium. So this classified in that order. Now if we see the diagrammatic figure of each individual epithelial cell, that is first of all simple epithelium, where the number of cell layer number of cell layer is only one layer. So this is simple epithelium. So these all are here simple epithelium. This is simple squamous epithelium. This is simple cuboidal epithelium. This is columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium may in the form of here ciliated and here non-ciliated. So these two types of form are there, ciliated and non-ciliated epithelium, and both you will get in case of fallopian tube. Some cells have capability to secretion and some have beating actions. So ciliated and non-ciliated columnar epithelium and cuboidal epithelium. Cuboidal epithelium, here all cells are cuboidal in shape and cuboidal, all cell wall is same. So this is apical cell layer, this is lateral surface, and this is basal layer. Basal layer touches the basement membrane individually. So here this is two-dimensional view, and here side surface is shown, and each surface is attached with each other, and on the side view each individual cell attached with the junctional complex and forming the tissues, and just below the basement membrane there is another tissue that is called connective tissue. So we will know connective tissue later on. Next, this cuboidal cell, where you will get this cuboidal cell, you will get on the lining of the ovary and in the thyroid gland, thyroid follicles. So this cuboidal cell is important for you. Next, the squamous epithelium. The first one, squamous epithelium. Each individual cell is width is more than the height, and less cytoplasms are there. And here all cells are uh, elongated, and the rest on the connective tissue and separated by basement membrane. Why do you get simple squamous epithelium? Simple squamous epithelium site where actions will be there. Suppose in case of endothelium and endocardium of the heart, there is gaseous actions with each other. So here you will get the simple squamous epithelium. So where there is a actions takes place. So in the simple squamous epithelium also you will get in the peritoneal cavity, pleural cavity. So this all about the simple epithelium. So simple epithelium lies in the form of simple squamous, cuboidal, and columnar also in the form of ciliated and non-ciliated. So this is simple epithelium. Next, the stratified epithelium, here cells are uh, present in layer by layer. So here this layer by layer cell are simple squamous epithelium. Actually, in case of stratified squamous, the naming of this cell takes by the surface cell. That is, the surface cell is actually squamous shape, so its name is stratified squamous epithelium. But the basal layer is cuboidal to columnar, but gradually the height of the cell is reduces, but in case of surface cell is squamous cell. So this is stratified squamous epithelium, and stratified squamous epithelium where you will get in the form of keratinized and non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium in our oral cavity, in vagina, where this surface is always moist. Here you will get non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. But where there is a dry area, that is our surface of the skin, here you will get keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. So in that way squamous epithelium is distributed. Next, another form of stratified squamous epithelium, that is transitional epithelium. Here, actually, it is transitional because it is stratified but different from other stratified, because here the surface cell is dome shape or umbrella shape, and here the surface cell membrane, apical surface membrane, show a very thick a glycogen coat that is present in here, and this and the side of the here tight junctions are there, and in that way cells are in the form of 4 to 6 layers are there. So it lies in our urinary bladder and ureter, so they prevent urine absorptions, so it giving very strong protection to our sites. So in that way This is very important. Next, pseudostratified epithelium. So where you get pseudostratified epithelium? Pseudostratified epithelium you will get on the respiratory tract where is air presence. So this pseudostratified epithelium, here there is cilia are there, so ciliary beating are there. Why this is pseudostratified? Actually, it's not stratified, it's false stratified. Pseudo means false. Actually, it's a simple epithelium because all of these cells are columnar, but they touches the basement membrane individually in different way, and nuclei located in different sites. So as the nuclei is not in same site, some are above, some are below, but all touches the basement membrane. So this is called pseudostratified epithelium. So pseudostratified epithelium and transitional epithelium is very important. You have to know their structure, their distribution, their function individually. So this is about pseudostratified epithelium. Now just you shortly write about that number of layers, that is simple epithelium and stratified epithelium, 2 or more layers. So what are they? Here number of cell layers, simple, stratified, pseudostratified and stratified. So cell form so is in the form of simple squamous, cuboidal and columnar epithelium, and stratified in the form of squamous, that is keratinized where there is dry area, already I mentioned, and squamous non-keratinized where there is moist area in our oral cavity, in case of female genital tract, moist. And this is stratified also in the form of cuboidal, transitional and columnar. An example of distributions and their main functions, already I'm saying just on a table here written in here, and this table I took from Jamkula textbook of histology. So you can just write in short. So this is the classification of epithelium. So each individual epithelium tissue you have to write in your practical khata, that is why this is simple squamous and why it is distributed and why this lies in the blood vessels or pericardium, interior of the pericardium, interior of the pleura, interior of the peritoneum, that is called mesothelium. And in case of blood vessel, it is called endothelium, and in case of heart, it is called endocardium. Here, not written in here, but this is you also have to know because they facilitates the movement of the viscera in case of pleura and peritoneum, and transports by pinocytosis in case of mesothelium and endothelium, and helps in exchange in pleura, in lung alveolus. So this is also present in the lung alveolus because gaseous exchange takes place. So this is very important. So secretion of biologically active molecules, that is mesothelium. So stratified cuboidal epithelium and stratified epithelium are rare. Stratified columnar epithelium can be found in the conjunctiva lining the eyelid, and while it both protective and mucus secreting, stratified cuboidal epithelium is restricted to a large excretory duct of sweat and salivary glands. So this is stratified cuboidal and stratified columnar locations. So as it is rare, so you just know that. So there are some epithelium are there in that way. So this is all about the epithelium cell, but my next class I will take about the gland. A gland is a specialized epithelial cell because it have capability to produce secretions. There are two types of glands are there, unicellular and multicellular. So today up to that, and thank you for patient hearing. So this is glandal epithelium. I will take about next class. So you just read about the glandular epithelium. I will take another class on histology on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum,
sir.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hossain, ठीक छो?
मूसा
Thank
मूसा
you, sir.
जाकिर मूसा
क्या हो गया?
खत्म
छोड़ छोड़ बाहर
मूसा मूसा मूसा
बाहर निकल बाहर निकल।
मूसा मूसा जाकिर मूसा
Thank you, sir.
मूसा
कौन आया था?